Welcome in. Welcome to the Verdin Verdict Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin. We're going to be rolling into this live stream here. Yesterday, we had a little bit of a hiccup, but you can't stop us. You can't stop us. We're going to keep going. We got a surprise show for you today. I believe this would be the first time ever in our program history that we've gone live every single weekday. We went live Monday, Tuesday, tried to go live yesterday. We did. It was rough. Now we're live again on Thursday to make up for what happened yesterday. And we're going to go live again tomorrow. So theoretically, we got a show in every day of the weekday. So I'm glad to be able to do that for y'all. It's pretty interesting stuff that we have to cover here today. We'll give you an LSU football practice report. We do not go back to practice until this Saturday. So wait for this weekend for those highlights to come out. We'll be covering our standout players. Who has, caught my interest, if you will, during these practices that we've been able to go to. Then we're going to do our underrated players. Standout, underrated. We're going to talk about the Biletnikoff Award because I think that award has some unspoken beef with LSU, unfortunately. Then we'll give you a update on quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, how he's been looking, this whole situation. We got some special teams returner information, and then we'll open it up to your questions if you have any. We got the chat open. Go ahead and drop your comments in there if you want to know something. If you got something burning your mind up, go ahead and get to that one for you, answer your questions, help you out, get you some clearer knowledge on LSU football. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button so you can stay informed, join the community, never miss another live stream again. Without further ado, let's jump right into this. Our standout players. Who has caught my attention at LSU's practice? The first person that has really caught anybody's attention. I feel like he's been the talk of LSU practice highlights or notes or updates or whatever the word may be. But Ashton Stamps, he's been your clear cornerback one. He's been the guy that you can expect to have those big moments on the defensive side of the ball. He had one intercepting Garrett Nussmeier in their little live rep scheme. But there was another big play that really caught my attention, that really made me think, okay, Ashton Stamps can take this role and run with it. He's guarding Kyren Lacy, they're getting that iron versus iron type deal, iron sharpening iron. And he got an insane rep over him. He deflected him, got into his coverage, if you will. Didn't get shook by the footwork, didn't get shook by the speed, by the craftsmanship. And that type of play from someone who I believe is a sophomore who's, kind of had a little bit of time to wet their tongue, but not, I'm not going to say I wouldn't have expected that in a one-on-one with Kyren Lacy, but that was one of the moments where I was like, okay, he's for real. Okay, this type of practice, like Coach Sloan said yesterday, is going to be what gets that defense up to the level of the offense. Everybody's going to eventually be on the same playing field if you keep on having the competition the way you've been having it. Really the thing with Ashton Stamps, another reason why it's kind of caught my attention is just how much the team and the coaching staff has been respecting him. You can kind of just see the camaraderie getting built. You can kind of see the trust getting instilled into a player like this. And I don't think he's got anybody coming for his role. I don't think he's got anybody, kind of making this a debate on who the best cornerback on the team is. I think he's taking this one by a mile. Can he have some people come out and be great alongside with him? Of course. But the standout from the defensive side of the ball, without a shadow of a doubt, has been Ashton Stamps. So credit to him. Second standout player I've seen from camp. We'll switch it up to the offensive side of things. We've been expecting this one as well. Kyren Lacy. Now, despite what the Biletnikoff Award says or, holds opinion-wise about him, we'll get to that later. But despite all of that, I think he's going to be a problem for most people in college football. He's been a problem for most corners during camp. Talking about Ashton Stamps, Kyren Lacy did get one over his head in the red zone territory yesterday in practice. I thought that was pretty interesting, and I feel like those type of moments, though, if you see that, if you see Kyren Lacy beat your cornerback in a practice, does it hurt? Yeah. Does it make you wonder, is the cornerback's ready to play against competition like this? But what it could also do is help you realize the type of talent and the type of situation that LSU has on the other side of the ball. LSU's not in a spot where they're going to be scratching their head trying to make something shake, looking for a predominant ball player, looking for someone who can make a big moment happen, like, fill in the shoes of Malik Neighbors, of this, of that. I think Kyren Lacy has that potential. And another thing I like about Kyren Lacy is, we've seen so many tight end implementations in this scheme. We've seen so many other wide receivers get attention and get credit. I mean, hell, C.J. Daniels gets put on the watch list and Kyren Lacy doesn't. So with that being said, I don't think Kyren Lacy walks into a game and gets doubled or gets, covered like a blanket. I don't think he gets as much attention as Malik Neighbors did. And that'll be beneficial for Kyren Lacy simply because now he's going to be able to get open a little easier. Now he's going to have like, okay, y'all want to look at this? Y'all want to look down here and get distracted? Cool. While you're paying attention to that, I'm going to go ahead and break off for 45 yards and go to the end zone. That could be an interesting asset to Kyren Lacy's game, and that could be an optimistic look as to, what sleeping on somebody could bring you. I think when it's all said and done, Kyren Lacy can be one of the best wide receivers in the SEC. They got a lot of talent across the conference, across the board, across college football as a whole. But Kyren Lacy has an interesting skill set, an interesting group of experience, and then you pair him with the situation that he'll be in. He'll be playing at LSU in front of a lot of attention with Garrett Nussmeier as his quarterback, getting protected by probably the best offensive line in college football, and getting their pass game set up by a plethora of running backs that'll probably be killing a lot of defensive lines. Hopefully, don't want to get too ahead of myself, but that's kind of what it seems like to me. Moving on, another wide receiver, another standout, another person that I have circled their name and realized the potential of, Chris Hilton. And we've really been saying it all offseason. It didn't take a fall camp performance like this to be able to really put him on my radar, so to speak. But I've been enjoying what I've been seeing from Mr. Hilton. I've been enjoying what I've been seeing just simply because I think that he's not only just your vertical threat. He's not only just the piece of the puzzle that's going to be able to really break away, but he's also been implemented in everything short or long. He's been in a lot of short pass schemes, and I like that because that allows him to be able to kind of get his game going, get his game flowing. If he's getting 2 to 3 short catches, I mean, it don't matter if it's for 20 yards. It don't matter if it's for 15 yards. He's getting his tongue wet, so to speak, in the middle of the game or in the beginning of the game, and then you can kind of, break the rust off, break the chains off, so to speak, and watch him just go insane. You're kind of heating him up a little bit. You're feeding him one play at a time, and who knows, on a screen pass, on a dump pass, on a little short pass, Chris Hilton can take that and turn it into a 30-yard gain, 20-yard gain. I mean, this type of wide receiver is special simply because he's going to open a lot of doors for this scheme. I mean, we just talked about Kyren Lacy being a problem across the board. Let's say that he does, and let's say he's on his way to getting the Blitnikoff, and maybe he's got over 1,000 yards, and maybe he's looking like Malik Neighbors, catching almost 90 passes in a year. If that happens, now you've got Chris Hilton open on the other side. And then when the tight ends like Kamorian Pimpton or Trades Greener, Mason Taylor, get in and get out and get shifty, and now you really don't know how to contain this offense, that's when you'll really start to see the three-headed monster in this wide receiver room. And it's not just Chris and Kyren. I'm throwing CJ in there as well because Nussmeier has been getting comfortable with all 3 of those targets. And I feel like the amount of attention that you're going to have to put into this room, it'll almost be all for naught. It'll be pretty interesting. You're going to have a damn good cornerback room or a really good secondary to be able to not get put in hell in a handbasket with this situation. Last standout player before we move into our underrated players, Savion Jones. He's been having a lot of competitive reps. He had one against Emory Jones. He had a couple against Emory Jones. That kind of made me think, okay, Savion Jones he's up the ante. He's pushed the pace. He realizes this is his year, his make-or-break year, so to speak, his prove himself year. Another thing that I want to note about, we keep talking about the talent. I think that Womack on the other side of the ball of Savion Jones is going to create an interesting situation because now you're not doubling him. Now you can't really put the attention on Savion that Savion truly needs. I think that, he's shown off a lot of speed throughout this camp. He's shown off a lot of intelligence throughout this camp. He's made his presence felt. That D-line is going to be bolstered. And I know the D-line depth is in question. We got Blanche in the chat from earlier today asking, Dominic McKinley doesn't look like he's going to be ready. What do you think the rotation will be? And lastly, does Jalen Lee return to regular practice on Monday? So quick update for that. As far as we know, we'd expect Jalen Lee to return on Monday along with Braden Swinson, and those two people in the spring paired with Jacobian and Savion where you're starting 4. So I don't know if they're going to move back to that, but I do have some notes for you, Blanche, on the D-line. The people that have really impressed me in that spot, of course, Jacobian Guillory, but you got Javier Suggs, you got Gio Piez, and then you got Sean Washington. I think that those 4 people have been real big head turners in that position. Not saying that all those guys are going to start, just saying you got that depth if you really need it, if a Jalen Lee can't get back. I think Braden Swinson will be back regardless, but we'll see. DN room, Savion Jones, Deshaun Womack, and then Dylan Carpenter. I think Savion and Deshaun are going to have this one by a clear mile, but Dylan Carpenter's turned some heads for me, and he made me think that there's a little comfort in the depth in that spot as well. So that's going to be the people I would pay attention to. But like I said, in the spring they ran with Jalen, Deshaun, Savion, Jacobian. I imagine they could go back to that. I'd imagine that'd be the goal. That'd be, what they envisioned. We'll see how that one pans out. We'll be keeping an eye on that one. We'll be at practice Saturday and on Monday. That'll be two of the things that we look into. D-line depth and who is back that has not been present during fall camp. Moving into our underrated players. Number one. Not a lot of people might know this name. And I feel like that's a perfect way to break off this list. Some people might know this name and might be confused on why he's on it. I got Javen Nicholas, 5'9", 184 pounds, sophomore wide receiver. And starting this thing off saying he's 5'9", everybody's already doubting him, and that's why I love it. That's why I think he's an underrated player, because he's shown off a lot of speed. And I feel like if you want to put a player comparison on him, at least on the college level, I'll make the comparison of Aaron Anderson. Aaron Anderson has had a rough go with the injuries, with the health, with just the overall situation. But that doesn't mean Aaron Anderson's not a talented player. Aaron Anderson, despite the size, despite what he lacks in terms of, the vertical aspect, he's been able to make up for it tenfold with the speed, with the shiftiness, with the route running ability, or with his implementation on different things, whether it be special teams, offense, whatever. I feel like Aaron Anderson takes the role on the chin and he performs it at the utmost of his ability. And Javen Nicholas has kind of been filling that bill. He hasn't been thrown in the special teams yet. We got some information on that coming in a little bit in our next segment. But what he has done is he's made a name for himself, simply put, because of how much attention has been drawn to him in one-on-ones or in the live reps, if you will. I'm not saying that he's going to see the field. I'm not saying that he's going to take somebody's job. I'm just saying that that's a name that you're going to have to keep in mind going forward, because there's a lot of diamonds in the rough here on LSU. There's a lot of talent. When you've got a wide receiver room like this where everybody can play, it's going to be important to note a guy like this. Let's keep things in the receiving core. And it's not a wide receiver, but it will be someone who probably has a chance to catch a lot of passes. And we've warned you. Kamorian Pimpton. You got him in the show a couple of weeks ago. He murked us and Madden. We won't talk about that one. That was a tough game. But this guy, 6'6", 242 pounds. He's been wreaking havoc on the defense. He's been going all over the place. I think really, first things first, the biggest rep I've seen was the insane catch over Austin Osbury. If you hadn't seen it, we're going to clip it, put it on socials later. It's in our highlight videos. He's like falling to the ground, turns, he's going down and still gets up, still catches the ball on his way down, still has the awareness, still has the ability to bring one in. Then he's had plenty of good moments over, Deshaun Spears, who is next on this list, so let me keep this brief. But he's had some times where it's just like, I don't see how you get over him. I don't see how anybody in college football is going to be able to stop this. If you have a double set with Pimpton and Trudez Green on both sides of the ball, oh my God. Just take your pick. It's a jump ball. It's literally a jump ball with a center and a point guard at that point. I'm interested to see what they do with these two guys. I think that, I think with Mac Markway leaving, this all but opens an insane amount of reps for Pimpton. This is really that's the writing on the wall. Markway entering the portal shows you how the coaching staff is going to utilize these two players. Is Mason Taylor going to see the field the majority of the time? Of course. He's an NFL-ready player. He's the piece. He's one of the biggest, most consistent players you've seen on LSU's roster. Don't matter if it's his freshman year, sophomore year, or this year. Mason Taylor has been as consistent as consistency gets. So he'll get his reps. But in a double set, or hell, if he needs a breather, if he needs some water, if he's banged up, throw out your 6'6" plus receiving cores, throw a damn ball out there. It could be a 50-50 ball. It's going to turn into a 75-25 ball. It'll probably turn into a 99-1 ball. These guys are not going to be able to get mossed, not going to be able to get picked apart. The only thing I would be worried about in regards to Kamorian Pimpton, maybe Trudez Green, is the health. You saw Kamorian Pimpton leave the spring game, and that's not saying anything about him. Tough dude, very good receiver. I'm just saying, with that size, with that frame, with that position, you're going to want him to stay healthy. And I think there's an argument to be made here on if LSU has the best tight end room in the country. A lot of people are going to be shocked to hear me say that. There's a valid argument. Whether it be Mason Taylor, Pimpton, Trudez Green, the way you're going to be able to use these people, the schemes and the things that are opened up because of it. Coach Sloan said yesterday they're not just going to be receiving, tight ends. They also can be incorporated in other aspects. I'm really excited to see it. I'm really excited to see what happens, and I'm really excited to see, the future of LSU football when things are changing like this. Because, we can say it time and time again, but it's true. It's serious. When has LSU's tight end room looked like this? I'm going to say never. Lastly, Deshaun Spears, underrated player. And he's getting his credit. But first things first, this is Deshaun McBride. And I don't want to keep saying it. He changed his name for a reason, but I just don't want no confusion. So it's the last time I'll put it out there. Deshaun Spears, he's 6'3", 208 pounds, and he's a freshman. Let me read that one more time. He's 6'3", over 200 pounds as a freshman. He's playing safety. He's got everything you need. He's got the length. He's got the intangibles. He's got the speed. He's got the dog. He's running out there guarding Trudez Green and Kamorian Pimpton. He's in a spot where he's guarding people damn near a foot taller than him. Well, he's 6'3". They're probably 5 inches taller than him. I ain't going to be too exaggerative. But still, that ain't nothing to scoff at. That's something that's probably not going to happen in any other game but this one. So very happy that they're going to put him out there. I'm just going to say, though, Deshaun Spears is a future LSU star. He's going to be very dominant. And if you pair him with Corey Raymond for long enough, that's easy pickings. And then Coach Peoples is also an interesting aspect to this whole entire mix because I feel like he's going to be a big advocate for people like this. I would 100% think Deshaun Spears sees the field this season. I think there's some other freshmen that can see the field as well, maybe even a PJ Woodland. There's a couple of pieces that I really, really, really am interested to see how they get utilized, if they get utilized, or when they get utilized. There's always going to be a time where you see the young guys get in there, but you never know the situation. You never know how it plays out. Got our guy Seth Carpenter in the chat. What's up, Seth? How you doing, man? Appreciate the support. Glad to see you in the stream today. Same thing for our guys, Blanche, Coco. We got Nigel in the chat. Appreciate everybody for coming in. Y'all drop a thumbs up. We got another stream coming tomorrow. Practice highlights coming on Saturday. We're going to keep this thing rolling. Next segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the Biletnikoff Award. I don't want to harp on this one too much. I've just got two things that I want to say about it. That's it. We'll keep this real brief just because I don't want to give this one too much attention. Because the first thing I want to say is C.J. Daniels is an incredibly talented wide receiver. I think C.J. Daniels does have a crack to have the most yards on the team. And I'm not saying Kyren Lacy's not going to have a good year. He's going to have a great year. Kyren Lacy's a phenomenal talent, just like Chris Hilton. C.J. Daniels interests me, though. There's been a lot of times in camp where Garrett Nussmeier let one rip, and C.J. Daniels is under it 40 yards down the field, bringing it to the end zone. And that's not saying no one else can do it, but that's just saying I've seen C.J. Daniels do it time and time again in this situation, and then live reps and this and that. What I will say is Kyren Lacy is going to use this in the proper way. He's going to use this as fuel to the fire. This is a chip on the shoulder, and if there's one thing about people at LSU, let's say South Louisiana specifically, I wouldn't put a chip on their shoulder. I wouldn't put them in a situation where you put their back against the wall and you get them to fight out of that corner. Because 9 times out of 10, they're going to come out swinging, probably catch you with a few, and clear out the room. If we compare the situation to Malik Neighbors, if we compare the situation to even someone way, way, way back when, let's use Tyrann Mathieu. There's plenty of names. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Let's just keep throwing them out there. A lot of people find a way from the boot. A lot of people find a way to overcome adversity, to get away from the criticism, to kind of ignore all of the noise, so to speak. And I think that Kyren Lacy is going to be a big example of that. I think he's going to embody everything that Biletnikoff Award really wants. He's going to be a deep threat receiver. He's going to have a lot of catches, a lot of targets, a lot of attention. He's going to be a pivotal point in this offense. He's going to be wide receiver one without a shadow of a doubt. But I'm wondering what kept him off the list. Now, I know we got C.J. Daniels on it, and a lot of people are wondering, well, maybe they couldn't have put multiple wide receivers from the same school. Bull. Because I've got 6 schools right here with multiple players. I've got 1 school with 3. Miami has 3 players. Colorado has 2 players. Memphis has 2 players. Iowa State has 2 players. Notre Dame has 2 players. And Oklahoma State has 2 players on the Biletnikoff Award list. Now, why could you not put 2 players from LSU, from probably one of the best schools for wide receiver talent? Hell, look at the duo that just went to the NFL. And didn't miss a beat. That's still going to be able to go insane. I feel like the Biletnikoff Award at this point, it's not a gimmick, but it's not reputable. It's not going to the best player, because if it was, last season it would have went to Malik Neighbors. Here's the last thing I'm going to say about it. I'm not saying that the Blitnikoff Award doesn't matter. All I'm saying is if we're picking a trophy to hold up, if we're picking something to really add some credibility to LSU's brand, let's go for a damn national championship. Heisman's cool. Blitnikoff's cool. Let's get a team award. I'm good with all the individual stuff. And I know Kyren Lacy wants it, and I know it's going to be a jewel in the crown or a feather in the cap or whatever analogy you want to use. Kyren Lacy's going to feel a lot better with a national championship ring than he would a Blitnikoff Award. And that's just that. So use this chip, use this as motivation, and even if you have the season of your life and you deserve it, much like Malik did last year, and they don't give it to you, who cares? You still balled, you still did what you had to do. You still, dotted your I's, crossed your T's, whatever you want to say. You still did your thing. I don't think this is the end-all, be-all for a wide receiver, much like it wasn't for Malik Neighbors. He didn't win it, didn't matter. He's still going to perform. He's still going to be a dog. Matter of fact, Malik Neighbors will probably be the offensive rookie of the year for the NFL. Mark it down. Moving in to the Nuss update. Let's get off of the Blitnikoff Award. We don't want no more bad juju flowing around us. Garrett Nussmeier's been letting it fly. Three-headed monster in the receiving core that we just talked about. Kyren Lacy, CJ Daniels, Chris Hilton, they've been eating. They're going to be eating all season long. That's probably your main trio. Then whenever you facilitate the tight ends, the running game, this, that, and the third, I feel like this is an interesting situation where Nussmeier has the tools around him. And then, like I keep saying, it's exciting because this is the style of play that will benefit Nussmeier the most. So we have never seen him in a situation like this where he's going to be able to just take it and run with it. I feel like the big targets, all the talent around him, that's a safety net. Can Nussmeier lead a team? 1,000,000%. Can he be a big, SEC quarterback, probably pushing us to the college football playoff? 1,000,000%. But now you add all this talent around him, and you don't have to make him make something happen. They can sometimes make something happen. Choo, have fun. Jaden Daniels said it best last year when he had Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. around him and all the other pieces, even a Kyren Lacy. He was saying these guys make my job a lot easier. They make me look better. And I'm not saying if it's true or not. I'm just saying it don't hurt. It only helps. And Nuss is in that same situation. Another thing I like to hear, Coach Sloan on the podium yesterday during his press conference noted that Garrett Nussmeier is not, doesn't have the experience of a traditional first-year starter in a good way. He's been on the sideline for quite some time. He's been under a very good quarterback, the second quarterback taken off the board last season, Heisman winner. He's been kind of absorbing as much information as somebody really can, and he's not going to be just like a freshman or a sophomore-minded player hitting the field, kind of cracking under pressure. I know a lot of people are worried about the interceptions. I know a lot of people are worried about the accuracy. Those type of things happen. Will they happen at an explicit amount? I don't believe. I don't think Nussmeier is going to be throwing the ball all over the place, turning it over, creating havoc. I think if that situation were to start to occur, you can kind of, see it early, and you'll probably be able to change some things up, whether it be run the ball more, whether it be keep things a little shorter, whether it be, try to find some schemes to get some people in single coverage or in man coverage or in this or in that. I think Nussmeier, though, has enough wherewithal and has enough poise and confidence to be able to lead this team. I think half of the battle in sports is mental. Are you talented? Sure. Are you experienced? Sure. But can you handle the pressure when adversity hits? I mean, a lot of things are going to happen to try to drag you out your character, but what are you going to be able to do when that going gets tough? I mean, I don't want to compare it to a situation with us, but damn, if our Wi-Fi shuts off, what are we going to do? Never go live again? Garrett Nussmeier's been in a situation where he didn't get the job. Okay. Did he pout? No. Did he leave? No. He didn't run from the adversity like most players in college football would do today. What he did was he knuckled down, sat there, worked, waited his turn. Here it is. And if you think he's going to let it slip, got another thing coming for you. I think Garrett Nussmeier is about as focused ever. And like I said, mental side of the game is damn near everything. And when you're crossing them boxes, I'm going to believe in you. We got another quick thing to talk about. Probably going to get out of here after this one. We probably got another, 10 minutes left, I would say. So if you got any questions, if you got any last-minute things, drop them in the chat. We'll get to them. We'll break it down. But special teams returner, this one's going to be a little interesting. You got 4 different pieces that you could rely on in this situation. 2 of them are freshmen. 2 of them are more experienced. 2 of them are kind of people that I say you could lean on. And if you lean on them, you might be able to have some explosions on the special team side of things that you really haven't seen with LSU. LSU's special teams has been kind of worrisome over the past couple of years. And I'm not saying that it's going to be like that this year. I'm just saying you're going to want to kind of start putting the pieces together to make it what it needs to be, a threat. Something that can eventually get you in the right spot. Because if you are returning punts and getting it across midfield and you don't have to have as many yards on your drive, you don't have to have as many first downs, it's going to always benefit the game. I think the hidden yardage and those type of aspects are everything. Now, on the field goal side of things with Damian Ramos, oh, you're chilling. He made a 60-plus yard field goal. I think he went 10 for 10 beyond 50 yards. With the field goal, with the boot, you're chilling. I think Damian Ramos has that. Now, with the special teams returning, you got Xavier Thomas, who's been working in the backfield, Jelani Watkins, Aaron Anderson, and Kyle Parker. 4 great options. I could imagine if you're picking 2, you're picking Xavier and Aaron. I know it's confusing. Why would you pick Xavier? Xavier could go on the offensive side of the ball, catch some passes, get open, be another weapon. He could. But he's such a good returner. I'm pretty sure at Mid-State, that's what he did. He was returning. That is his strong suit. He might be comfortable with it. He is banged up right now. He's got a hamstring injury. So I don't know if that's going to impact it or not. But if you've got my vote and you got to pick 2, I'm picking Aaron and Xavier. I'll probably let Aaron return the punts. I think Aaron Anderson's one of the fastest people on the team. I think he's got that build where he's small, can fit through the cracks, be able to make something shake. I'm excited. I'm excited to see that. I feel like this could be one of the first times in LSU's recent history where they can actually have some fireworks on that side of the ball. Real quick before we hop out, though, I'm going to tell you guys about our team at Happy Dad joining the crew, sponsoring us, helping us, supporting us throughout the summer, whether it be getting the SEC Media Days, going to Las Vegas here in the future when we're going to watch us beat USC. Got to speak that into existence. But Happy Dad's available in Louisiana just in time for the summer. Go get your refreshing hard seltzer. It is low in sugar, gluten-free, no artificial flavors. You can grab the tea if you want to change some things up. If you're not a big hard seltzer guy, you don't want cherry, lime, pineapple, watermelon, things like that, move on to the tea. Go get you some peach tea, lemon tea, blueberry tea. Nice and refreshing. Make sure to stock up before it's gone at Walmart, at Rouse's, at Albertsons. Get in. Let them know the Verdin Verdict sent you. Go try it out. Crack one open while you watch the show tomorrow, while you watch the highlights on Saturday. So it's refreshing. I feel like it's one of those drinks that you gotta experience. You just gotta try it. Verdin Verdict stamp of approval. You heard it here first. So thank you to our guys at Happy Dad. We're gonna look in the chat real quick before we hop off the show. Got Blanche saying the Blitnikoff Awards a fashion show. Damn right. I mean, seems like the person that won it last year won it because of who they were born from and raised by, but it's all right. We'll figure it out. I think Malik Neighbors will have some things to show off. Let the electric freshman take it. Nuss needs to step up like his life depends on it. Now, in my situation, from what I've heard, from what I've been around, I wouldn't say Nuss has been lazy. Now, that's always a subjective thing. I feel like Nuss is really probably the most professional, embodiment of a quarterback that I've seen recently. And I'm not saying that anybody else wasn't. Everyone is. Jaden Daniels was a complete team player. Very selfless leader, and I think he's going to fit that bill as well. I've just liked the way that Nuss has represented LSU, the way he talks about LSU, kind of the overall feel that he has of it. And then I also feel like, just the situation that he has right now where he could start one season having a fantastic year and punch his ticket to the NFL draft. Is he going to be a first-round talent lock? Who knows? I think he's got a good shot if he has a great season. And I feel like that potential is going to be what kind of lights the fire under him. I think that he's going to be in an interesting situation. Like you said, his life depends on it, so to speak. And it's a pretty accurate, description of his situation. And I don't think he doesn't realize it. I don't think that the offense around him, coaches around him, this, that, and the third, they're not going to let him be in a situation where he just fizzles out. Because really the team needs him. I mean, even if you got Ricky Collins or A.J. Swan come in, they're not bad. They're not horrible. I just don't think they're Garrett Nussmeier. I think Garrett Nussmeier realistically is far better than a top 5 SEC quarterback. He could creep his way into the top 3. You got some nice people in here, whether it be Carson Beck, whether it be Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe. You got some names. But I think he could be one of those guys when the season is all said and done. Could be optimistic, who knows. But just from what I've seen, from what I've heard, like I said, mental game seems to be everything. And I think he's crossing those boxes off. I think that the schedule, it's a little interesting for LSU. They could start off really good. They could start off 5-0. Their toughest games, 2 of the 3 are coming at home. I think, things might be in LSU's favor this year, so to speak. Could not be. USC could punch us in the mouth here in week 1. But something about this season, something about this team, something about just how this has played out and how quick they've grown and responded, whether it be losing a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator too. People forget that. New OC. Yeah, Sloan's been on the team, but this is a new role. He's had the role in previous jobs. He's at LSU fulfilling this role, and he's fulfilling it pretty well. I think the offense hasn't missed a beat. On the defensive side of things, you got a whole new staff that you got to translate the scheme under. You got a whole new staff that has to bond with the team, get them excited to play for them. And I think it's happening. I think not only is it happening because of the respect that's garnered around these coaches, like a Corey Raymond, a Bo Davis, a Blake Baker. They're 2 of the 3 are big pieces in LSU history, recent history as well. And the players understand that. The players respect that. And I feel like this is what you needed in a team. You needed the team to buy in. You needed the team to think that there was a chance. And I don't think there's been any chance like the present. I think LSU's got a pretty damn good shot. And I feel like it being a 12-man playoff, with us debuting at number 12, with us finishing at number 13 last season, all signs point to us being able to cover a college football playoff game. That's all I'm gonna say. We'll leave it at that. I don't wanna have to eat these words. It would be unfortunate. I don't think I will, but we'll keep it short and sweet just in case this clip comes back to haunt me. But it's been an interesting stream. I'm glad this one worked out. No Wi-Fi issues. Appreciate it, Cox. The show must go on. There's always an audible to be had. Appreciate everybody for the support. Thank you for tuning into this show. We will be live again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Every day this week we going live. Come on, round of applause, round of applause. Well, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. Practice highlights on Saturday. Drop a comment if you have any topics, any questions, any ideas you want to hear covered Friday. Anything you want me to cover at the practice on Saturday, I'm going to be listening. I'm listening to all the input. Good, bad, ugly. I'm reading it. I got thick skin, bro. I could take it. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great day. This has been the Verdin Verdict. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin. Bringing you sports talk on the go. Sponsored by our guys at Happy Dad. Y'all have a great day.